YouTube, welcome back, or if it's your first time on the channel, well, thanks for tuning in. In today's video I want to show you a few tips and tricks that I wished somebody would have told me when I started with Delta Force in Season 2. This video has a structure, so we're starting with the very basics and work our way up. But you can always follow the timestamps in the description. So without further ado, let's jump right in. When you first start to play, you want to make your first experiences with gear tickets. But even later in the game, you will find yourself coming back to gear tickets, for example for simple, cheap and effective loot runs. So when you pick your recruit gear ticket, you always want to pick the UZI Loadout. The Uzi is one of the strongest weapons and is even competitive to some of the very expensive guns like the Scar. But you're not restricted to the gear provided by the gear ticket. Instead, you can kit your loadout with your safe box. So I made a few suggestions on what to bring to a raid if you start fresh with Delta Force and what to bring when you're advanced already. So when you kit your gear ticket, you want to bring green or blue ammunition. I recommend blue ammunition because it's quite cheap. And if you have a larger safe box, add in some tactical surgency kit. If you have the even larger premium safe box, then you want to put in some additional medics. As for rating the gear tickets, as I said, the UZI Loadout is the strongest one. You can swap the loadout with a little button on the top corner. It will cost you some credits. But please always swap to the Uzi. Don't use the Bison. Even though it has more ammunition, it's worse. Please use the Uzi. As for the standard gear tickets, the balanced loadout with the SG552 is quite decent. The survival loadout seems to be tempting because it has a purple vest and a purple vest repair kit, but I would always recommend the PTR. It is simply the strongest gun from all the standard gear tickets. Even though it only comes with green ammunition and some weak health, you can always kit it with your safe. And for the Elite gear tickets, I usually go with the AKM. I even save the AKM as a standard loadout. It comes with purple gear, some good health and meds, some good ammunition, and you can never go wrong with the AKM. If you're questing, you can also go with the P90. So when I start a ticket run, what I usually do is I drop all the grey ammunition because it doesn't do you any favor. And I immediately swap at least a few stacks of ammunition into my chest rig. So that when I get into a firefight, I have some spare ammunition, but I'm making sure that when I die, I'm not losing too much. So just put like one magazine or half a magazine of spare ammunition into your chest rig. So I was able to see an enemy over there and I'm peeking. Mid-range is not the best range for the Uzi, but I was quite lucky here and I'm going to show you in a second why I always pick blue ammunition and I don't recommend to play with the grey ammunition that is provided by the gear ticket. So that guy made an obvious mistake. He pulled out of cover. I'm pretty sure he saw me too, but why did he go out? And even though I had a head glitch behind the chest, he definitely lost the firefight because he was on a gear ticket as well and he was playing with grey ammunition. That cost him his life. Here's a very nice other example of me playing with a standard ticket. It was actually the same run. We heard some gunshots from major substation and minor substation, so we decided to go over there and I got the calls and marks from my teammates. So instead of pushing right in, I'm trying to peek a little bit and try to find out where the enemy exactly is. So here I got some troubles with my mouse, but at this position right now I see his red laser and then he's flashing. You will not get flashed if you look away, and after he fired his shots I peek out and I got the kill. And then I got hacked and I thought there has to be a second hackler, but it was actually this guy that used his ulti right before he died. So again, reloading, make sure you've got some spare ammunition in your chest rig. And then I get exposed by a lunar arrow. So there has to be an enemy somewhere close. I shoot my own arrow. I give my teammate the call that he can shoot the enemy from the window. He's firing at the enemy and I can push out and get the kill. So time to check their gear. This one did have a nice SMG45, which is one of my favorite weapons. You got some blue armor on him and blue chest rig and blue backpack. And the second guy was kitted with a PTR loadout. So after selling and repairing, make sure you have your meds ready, you have your safe box filled again, and now we will advance our Uzi and modify it to a very, very nice 100k custom loadout, which I can highly recommend. It comes with 79 control and 62 accuracy. This thing is a beast and it can beam enemies even on mid-range. Well, the first one is a close range weapon and you gotta be careful with the ranges that you're fighting. This thing can fight even on mid-range, and I will post the loadout in the description below. And I also did some calibrations to it. You always want to go for full control and full firing stability. You don't have to have firing stability while breathing, because usually you want to hold your breath while firing. So I removed that again. And on the optics with no zoom, I used to prefer a little bit of extra zoom on them. It makes aiming a little bit easier. Now let's have a look how that Uzi looks in action. So I'm always checking for a team coming from this possible spawn over there. And now I see that my teammates are already in a firefight. So there has to be a team inside cement.
Target located. Where are you going?
And as you can see, this thing is a laser. He was also on a gear ticket, and I shot blue ammunition on a blue helmet. So I can highly recommend bring that Uzi loadout. Play that with blue ammunition on easy. That's the best ammunition you can bring. And you will even melt through purple armor, I promise. So we went on into admin, got into a firefight. I knew, because there was the lunar arrow, that there's gonna be at least one enemy on our right hand side. Then I heard some steps in admin, so I was just sneaking around. Maybe not the best positioning right here. I should have stayed closer to one of the walls. But then, yeah, I peeked around the corner and made a little mistake after the kill, because I was afraid of the team in front of admin. I wanted to get into the inside area, and we've been wiped by this guy camping in the corner. Let's have a look at some advanced safe box options here. If you made your way through the seasonal missions, you will get the 3x3 safe box. And I can highly recommend to put in some do-it-yourself vest repair kit as well as an outdoor med kit. You will see that it has actually two functionalities. It recovers hit points, and then it can heal a wound or relieve pain for 30 seconds, which makes it so strong during firefights. You always want your medical bay to be on cooldown. Using the medical bay is much cheaper than buying everything from the auction house. So what I usually do is I have my helmet repair kit, my vest repair kit, and my outdoor med kits on cooldown. The outdoor med kits are maybe one of the strongest medical items in the game. When you start with Delta Force, you will find yourself very low on auction house slots. So the trick is to sell items at a high discount. You want to always find yourself on the cheapest price in the auction house. It will lower your margin, but a discount of 3k is better than not being able to sell all your stuff. So I waited for a few seconds to sell the helmet, and then I started to sell it at a discount. If you check the expected profit, you will just have a difference of a few thousand credits. But look how fast the helmet is sold on the auction house. It didn't even take 10 seconds and the helmet was gone. And talking about the auction house, at the beginning of Delta Force, your stash will be very small. So you can use the auction house as an additional storage. Take any high-priced item, increase the price to a very, very high number, and you will just pay a little upfront deposit, which is negligible. And you can store those items in the auction house. It will maybe cost you 1 or 2 blue items for each storage slot that you use in the auction house. And as you can see, even when the auction is expired, the items will not be removed from the auction house. So you can use that as an additional storage. And for the last tip of the day, I want you to buy not the new items, for example, this vest with 110 durability. Instead, go to the nearly new tab, buy one with 93 durability, and you will save 50% on the purchase price. It doesn't really make a difference if it's 110 or 93 durability, but the 100k difference in price will make a huge difference in the long run. That's it for today's video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. As always, guys, have a good one.
Protecting.